Good morning. It is Monday, June 3rd. It is 6:43 a.m. Pacific time. Welcome to my trading journal. This is my accountability tool. Keeps myself accountable to me. And now that I'm posting them online to other people as well. Happy Monday. It is the Monday after rollover, so hopefully things aren't as crazy as they were last week. Still have this massive range in the 10-year though. It's important to note really quick before we move on with our normal routine is that even though we shot all the way up here, which I'll show you in a chart here pretty quick, the point of control still remained down here. We've had about, 36,000 or so print, but still this area would have been the point of control this entire move higher. So it's something to keep an eye on. Is a longer term tool, I guess, because this is an oscillating product and it normally, quote unquote, normally returns to the mean, regresses to the mean. So this would have been the mean in that case. So just one of those extra clues that we keep in mind when we're considering individual trades. So to kind of go through the routine here, what you're looking at is the Jigsaw daytradr platform. This is these are price ladders, order books. This is what you use to watch order flow. No charts here except for the one that we'll look at here briefly. No indicators, no oscillators. This is all about a skill of reading order flow. There's no strategies, no gimmicks, nothing like that. So we have, it's just 6:45, so we just had a ISM manufacturing, or PMI, excuse me, just had PMI come out. So we're getting a little bit of movement here, which is good. You don't want to trade during announcements, so we'll kind of go through that process here right now. Really quick look at a chart just to see what the overnight action did. We opened over here, kind of went sideways, which is pretty typical during the Asian session. Time was this at about midnight or so, shot all the way up, traded up here briefly, then just sort of been slumping back down to the point of control all night. And then we just had a little bit of news come out, so I think this is a delayed chart, obviously. We're trading up in this area right here. So what does that tell you? That tells you that this has been support for the last, I don't know, several hours. Excuse me. Prior to that, we had a little bit of support here, and you had this little tiny tail coming down right here. So that could act as support as we move through the day, or it could not. Really quick, looking at the calendar, again, we just talked about PMI at 6:45, so that just came out. We have ISM coming out at 7 a.m., which is in 13 minutes. And you'll also see construction spending coming out then as well too. We have a couple of monthly bill auctions. Those should not impact us that much. And then we have a Fed speaker, which could have impact, could not. It's just no telling. Yeah, wow, I wonder how it came out as estimated. It wasn't that big of a mess. Some must be parsing out the data, because it definitely had a bit of a reversal here in the old ES. Next thing to look at is kind of areas of interest. It's just, this has been support. I can just go ahead and indicate it. Support here as well. We saw on the overnight chart. Whether or not those will hold up again on retest. Obviously this did. 30 held up. We don't know. This is just really tough. Overnight high maybe would be an area of interest for me. Let's look back at that chart really quick. I don't spend a lot of time doing this, but yeah, there's no obvious areas of resistance. I think moving higher maybe at 5 even or 5 half, maybe in this area. 02, but that's not enough for me to trade off of. This is still right in the middle of the range. So 02 is right here. 5 is right about here. If we were to see some massive absorption there at that level, maybe. But it looks like it's going to be another one of these days where you have to be very, very patient and wait out, be very particular with your spots, which is a lot of just watching and waiting, which is exactly what trading is. Yeah, I listened to a couple of podcasts over the weekend, and one of them talked about how, you know, reading the tape and reading order flow is actually a skill versus a strategy that you know, some guys are selling a strategy out there, and it's, you know, supposed to be turnkey and something you can just easily make money off of, and that might work for a while, but things like that, you know, tend to have a shelf life or a half-life. But tape reading, that's something you can do forever, because that's not going to expire. The markets don't change that much. You just have to change your approach as the markets change. But it's definitely doable both ways. The other thing that I was thinking about over last week and the weekend was, you know, it's easy for me, once I figured out that your definitely wrong, quote unquote, location dictates your entry, then it was easier for me not to trade in these sort of environments, like last week and kind of right now, to be honest, because I don't know exactly where I'm wrong. And I like to know exactly where I'm wrong when I enter a trade, because your wrong point dictates your entry. You back that out. So if you're wrong at 25 and your risk tolerance is only for 3 ticks, then you can enter at 26.5, for example, if you're so inclined. If you're definitely wrong at 21.5, then you can enter at 23. But am I definitely wrong at 25 here? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. So if you were considering a trade right now, where are you definitely wrong? Are you definitely wrong up here at 4.5, 5? Or could you still be right and then it's going to pull back in? I don't know. I know if we get up to the overnight high and I take a short up here, I'm definitely wrong at 12 because it blew right through me. So that's where that makes sense to me. That's really helped my trading, is just figuring out exactly where you're wrong and then working your entry from that spot. And with that said, I'm going to pause the video because I don't see any sort of trades anytime soon. Again, point of control still remains down here at 30.5, 30. So I would expect we would eventually get back down to trade this area again. Don't know, but again, it's an oscillating product. So you would assume it would trade back, regress back to the mean. Okay, pausing the video for real this time. I'll start it back up if any opportunities present themselves. $7 a.m. we just had, what was that, ISM come out. Prices are just flipping all over the place. I think we were right around in here when the data came out, popped up, came back down. Who knows where it's going now? Just pinballing all over the place. We had an estimated 53, came out at 52.1. Anyway, just wanted to start it back up and show that. Construction spending was 0. That's another piece of data that just came out. Shouldn't be any more data after this, no more announcements. So we're back down here. It is 7:30 on the dot Pacific time. But we're back down here to this support level. It appears to be holding. So I'm just keeping an eye on it. Just getting a lot of pushback right here at 30. Sellers are definitely trying to push it through. Keep an eye here on this little shelf area on the 5-year. Over here in the 30-year to a lesser extent. Yeah, it looks like sellers are pushing through. Okay, false alarm. I think buyers kind of stopped pushing back. So I guess the next area would be the overnight low. Yesterday's high might act as a little bit of support, but that's not actionable in my opinion. Still kind of tough to get a read on this. Not seeing a lot of buyers absorbing the selling because it's just not happening. So I'll pause the video again. Just thought maybe there was some opportunity, but it did present itself. So onward and upward, we continue to wait. So it is 7:46 a.m. Pacific time. We are down here in the 10-year. Let's level this out for everybody. Down here, getting close to the support level. But what I'm really looking at over here is in the 30-year. We kind of hit this little shelf and we'll be doing a little bit of back and forth dance. We had buyers absorb some selling going on and then start to push back on it. We just ticked through that level. Yeah, it looks like some size is pushing through, so it was something to look at the time, but I don't think it's anything that I'm willing to engage in at this point. Again, talking previously about point of control and mean regression. You know, we're sold down pretty far from the point of control. Not that far, but far enough. So we can expect some regression eventually. Just when and where that's going to happen, that's the question. So in these cases, if you're really dying just to take a shot, then you just cut your lot size down quite a bit. There's definitely a pause at this level, definitely some pushback by buyers. As if we're taking a shot, like where are you wrong? I'd probably be wrong down here at 29. What you don't want is this thing just to pop down, tick right in, stop you out, and then go right back up. Still haven't seen really, that's probably the first sign right there of any sort of buying aggression. So drop back in. What I'd like to see, it's got to hold this level. It's got to hold 27, and we've got to hold 31 over here. And 145 over here in the 5-year. So buyers are starting to pick up here at this level. I'm not going to pay up for 28, but I would maybe pay up for 27.5. 27. If we drop back in, what I'd like to see is for the ES to push all the way to the top, push the highs, and have this hold this level. Drop back in a couple more ticks. That's your second chance buying opportunity. Just drop back in on 16. So it's already starting to drop in. Got 2 ticks over here in the 30-year. We'll take a shot at it. See what happens. We're wrong at 26. Cut the lot size in half. And we might, if we do drop back into 27 and we hold it, might add to the trade. We do have some responsive buying at this level. That's kind of what precipitated the entry, looking for this to push back up to the point of control. Might have been a little premature, probably wanted to stick with previous trade idea of the S pushing higher and this holding up. That's kind of your setup, and along with the responsive buying, which would be your confirmation. We've already seen a little bit of that. Just need buyers to hold this level, or obviously push it higher. Well, that fell in pretty quick. Pretty good size. I'm still here, just not much to say. Just waiting for this to play out one way or the other. Was kind of hoping it would have gone by now. Obviously. It seems like any push higher gets suppressed. It's just, you know, the tension, the pressure building at this level. So once it pops, it'll go one way or the other. Like a pressure cooker. But if you were short, if you're an intraday trader and you were short coming down here and you saw this happening, I would imagine you'd start to cover your position. Ticks in our favor. Looking for this thing to push back up to the point of control. Or even higher, hopefully. Just sort of trail it here with the stop loss. Hopefully it just sort of grinds higher. That's beautiful. That's exactly what you want to see. As soon as they hit up, start to lift the offer, it just melts away. It's exactly what you want to see. So if this were to drop back in, at what point do you cover your position? At what point do you let it ride? You think it would drop I mean, it's not implausible for this to drop all the way back into 27, 27.5. We talk about something that some people talk about as far as metrics and expectancy. Like, what is your expected outcome on a trade? Is it 3 ticks, 4 ticks, 2 ticks, 1 tick? So if you keep those kind of metrics, let's see, I don't think I have it here. Any of you use Journalytics? That's kind of what I'm looking at. I don't use it in-depthly. I just kind of use it as use it very informally, but I'm just kind of looking at it now to see if there's any sort of expectancy metrics on here, and I don't see anything as of right now. But just anecdotally, I feel like my expectancy is about 3 ticks, 3 to 4 ticks, but I know that I tend to pull trades off too soon. Again, that's anecdotal, but I feel like if I did the analysis, I could pull up the metrics. I could pull up the data and develop those metrics. So I guess the question is, kind of to get back to my point, is has this little move here expired? Definitely paused. What I don't want is for this to roll all the way back on me. I'd rather pull it off. I'd rather cover it here. And if it does drop back in, then you just buy it again. You evaluate the setup, the exact same setup as before. Only problem with that is if this continues, you're obviously not going to buy it at this level for a move higher. So how long do you wait? How long do you sit on this? That is always the question. I was really hoping for them to hold that level. The fact that it fell right back in like that is enough for me to cover if I can. This is all about kind of context too, is that it's almost 8:20 a.m. Pacific time. So that's that's 11:20 Eastern time in the US. Everybody's going to lunch. Things have kind of slowed down a little bit. This is starting to fall back in. That's not good. Just only like 900 something in the queue. I was hoping to get filled at that level. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. Unfortunately, or maybe it will happen. Maybe I pull it. All right, covered it. 4 ticks on that trade. If it drops back in here, I might look to rebuy it again. Otherwise, I don't really see another setup. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for now, but there's nothing really to, I wouldn't trade this back down here. Really just consider buying it again at this level. So I'll pause it. So it's 8:45 a.m. Pacific time. We're back down to this 27.5, 27 level. It's the second time we've kind of popped down here. First time it traded back up a couple ticks and it's fallen back in again. Interesting thing to note is that the 5-year is still trading several ticks off the level that correlated with this level last time. I don't know if that's indicative of anything. Could be. Could not be. You got the 30-year trading back down here to this level. And the Ultra Bond basically. But the 5 years kind of stayed bid a little bit. Wouldn't really consider an entry at 28, but maybe 27.5 if we get down there, or preferably 27. Just thought that was interesting that the 5-year still kind of bid. I mean, obviously it can drop in pretty quickly, pretty easily. But just thought that was kind of interesting. So I think the thing to keep an eye on here as we fall back in, 27.5 went offer. Immediately they start hitting down into 27. It starts to pull off, about 2,000 pulled off. Got about 1,700 that mean business at this level as far as contracts. They're willing to hang in there and take some punches. So what is your risk here if you enter at this level? You're definitely wrong at 26. Keep an eye over here. We got, this is from previous level, but we're at 15 versus about 7,000 on the other side. So immediately went offer at 27, started hitting down. Just need some pushback. It's pretty obvious buy level, I think, here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a shot at it. I paid up last time. Not sure if I want to pay up this time. Probably missed it at 27. So that's kind of a context thing, I think, if you consider the time of day and everything. Look how quickly that pulled off. Damn, fucking completely missed that entire move. Look how fast that pulls off. Boom. Just missed it. That sucks. Yeah, that's, I mean, this all goes into context, I think. Talked about this previously. This is something that you just learn from screen time and just watching the markets, but it's, you know, 8:49 a.m. Pacific time. Big dogs are probably at lunch. This is an obvious buy spot. Don't really have to wait for a lot of absorption or confirmation or anything. Just see buyers kind of step up and then just jump in. But it looks like we completely missed that move. That sucks. But that pulling off of orders there, that's exactly what you want to see if you're long, or if you're considering getting long there. You know, a few orders hit up, some contracts hit up into it, and immediately just starts pulling off, like thousands of contracts pull off. That's exactly what you want to see. Looks like we might get the fill here. 300 in the queue. Holy cow. Couldn't get it. Doesn't look like 300. My only concern at this point is that we're looking at the relationship between the ES and these products over here, is that the ES, this is an obvious buy spot over here for the ES. Just below the VWAP. That's when it often gets bought up. So that would obviously, if this pushes higher, it's going to put pressure on us over here to sell down. Not being able to get filled is kind of a good sign. That means you're on the right side of the trade. The other option would be to come over here and look at a trade in the 30-year that's still kind of close down to this step here. like this trade's been missed over here. Look at that, 250 in the queue. Wow. Well, I'll try to front run it over here in the 30-year. See if we can pull a few ticks out, get back up to the point of control. I don't like to hold trades over here in the 30-year too long, so this is more of a momentum product for me. So I'll take a tick or two here and there and then just get out any sort of pushback, and I just try to cover, even if it's 1 tick, 2 ticks. That's why I don't have the bids and offer pull-offs like over here. I like to see what's pulling off. Like that just pulled up 2,000 with 100 up into it. That's a good sign. But I don't have that over here just because I feel like this is a momentum trade. Anything in here, just this thing whips around, or normally does. So I just pull a tick out 1 or 2 at a time. Oh, I normally trade a 2 lot over here, but right now I got a 1 lot going, I guess. It is what it is. But this sucker over here will rip your face off if you're not careful. In fact, it's pausing right now, which I don't care for. Pulled that off probably a little too early, it looks like. But again, that's how I prefer to trade that product. And yeah. So we're pushing 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. I got an appointment here in about an hour I got to get ready for. So this is the end of my trading day. So just quick review. We identified a couple levels. We had support here at 30, half 30. Sellers just blew right through that one. We also identified resistance here at 05, 05 half. That we touched that level briefly on some data. It's no coincidence that it just sold right back down, but that's not something we're willing to engage in. Look at this fucking thing going higher. That's too bad. Oh well. And then we recognize this level and then as a potential support, and then as it came back down in, prices stalled out, buyers responded, so we were able to jump in and pull out a couple ticks. Second time we weren't able to get filled, so came over here to the 30-year, pulled a couple ticks out, and yeah, that's that. So video over. Let me know if anybody has any questions or anything. Feel free to send me an email. I love to engage. I love the conversation. Not a lot of people in my life, I don't know about you guys, but not a lot of people in my life that I can actually talk about this stuff with. So I really, really appreciate any sort of feedback or dialogue. And with that said, I hope everybody's having a good trading day, and we'll see you tomorrow.